Good evening, Fernwood. It is your mostly unspoiled friend Neil here, and it's time for us to catch a still somehow fresh rerun season episode of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. We are watching today episode 41 from March 1st, 1976. That is the Monday that directly followed the episode we watched yesterday, which had a pretty major beat going on. The non-major beat was that Steve asked Kathy to marry him, and of course Kathy said yes. They're very, very happy at this point. And the other beat, the major beat of the episode, was that May Olinsky has been recovering in Mary's bed from an attempt of suicide, and as much comfort as Tom and Mary are able to give, Martha comes in and surprises May and sends May into a crisis response. And now at the end of the episode, May has trapped herself in Mary's bathroom with Mary and Martha waiting right outside, hopefully to avoid any kind of dangerous event from happening. So that is the recap of the stuff that we watched yesterday. Let's go ahead and start this rerun season episode of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman.
Let's all sit down and we'll all have a nice little talk.
No, I don't want to talk. I just want everyone to leave me alone, everyone!
She isn't opening the door.
Ma, I can see she isn't opening the door. Why don't you go home and I'll call you later, okay?
But you need help.
Which is exactly why I want you to go home.
Well, if you say so.
It'll be a blessing.
Oh.
May, we're alone now, so it's okay to come out.
I don't want to come out.
What are you doing in there, May? It's just a small bathroom. What, are you looking at the new bath set? We ordered it from Ward's. I wanted the spring bouquet, but all they had left was the contempo.
It's very nice.
Well, if you come out, May, maybe I could give you a few decorating ideas for your apartment.
The only decorating ideas I want are a gasoline can and a match.
Oh, May. Somehow that doesn't sound like a very healthy attitude. May? May! It is making me very uncomfortable standing here talking to a closed door.
But you can go away.
I want to know what you're going to do.
I haven't decided yet.
Well, is it going to involve ambulance drivers? Because if it is, that's where I put my foot down.
It's my life and I'll do what I want with it.
But it's my bathroom, May! May, there are no pills in there of any kind. All there are a couple of safety razor blades. And I don't want you messing the place up. I mean it. Now listen, May. I use Bonamie till I'm exhausted to keep that place clean.
I don't care.
May, do you have any idea how difficult it is to get bloodstains out from beneath the cracks in the tile? I mean, I spent half my life scrubbing that bathroom. Also, I care about you.
About me?
Yes. If you could just come out, we could go downstairs and we could talk about what's bothering you. I really want to talk to you.
I really wouldn't have ruined your spring bouquet.
Contempo. I know.
It's just that I feel so stupid and ashamed.
Well, it was just one of those mornings. It happens to the worst of us. Are you feeling better?
Yeah, much.
Yeah, you look much better. How do you like the coffee?
It's awful.
Oh, good. I feel relieved. I mean, if you hadn't noticed how bad the coffee was and the crisis hadn't passed.
Oh, it's passed. It wasn't much of a crisis. It was just a little squall.
Well, we all deserve something like that every once in a while, you know, just to let off some steam. Is it really awful?
Yeah.
Was that your first squall?
No.
Mine neither. I mean, I know it wasn't mine, but I felt like we went through it together.
I guess everybody thinks about ending it every once in a while.
Well, thinks about it, yeah, but the most I ever do is, I just go up into my bedroom and cry for, oh, I don't know. I mean, that's when it gets really bad. Like when I turned 30. I haven't done it since then.
I went a little crazy after both my marriages broke up.
Did you have kids?
No. Well, my first husband wanted us to wait until we had a little money, which we never did because he was always spending it on steam mines and left-handed monkey wrench factories.
Well, would that fall under Small Business Administration?
Oh, no, that would fall under any sucker can lose a bundle administration. And then my second husband, Mike, well, he was married before, and his wife insisted that he get a vasectomy. I wanted to adopt, but, you know, men are funny about that. So finally, all we ended up doing was fighting about what a lousy spaghetti maker I was, what a lousy house cleaner was, what a lousy...
He sounds like a lousy guy.
Oh, no, he was sweet. He was a hard worker, and he had a good sense of humor. Sometimes. And, he always remembered my birthday and Valentine's Day, even Halloween.
Well, so what happened?
I don't know. You know, we were good in bed, and we liked the same television shows. I guess we just couldn't stand each other.
You know what? You know what I think? I think you're still in love with him.
Oh, you're crazy.
No, May. Do you realize that when you talk about him, you get all shaky?
I am not shaky. I'm just angry about pulling such a stupid stunt and losing 2 days sick leave. And I hate that job. You know, I was thinking about leaving it. I want to quit.
Well, what'll you do?
I don't know. Have you got any suggestions?
Well,
What?
nothing. It's nothing.
Who is it? Go away.
Steve. Hey, there's someone at the door. At the door.
Hi, I'm sorry to bother you, but there was a telephone call, and I told them I would tell you right away. It's from Pressburg and Hillington Publishers in New York, and they're sending an airline ticket and hotel reservation for you to be there day after tomorrow. Do you understand? It's for a press conference, an autograph party, and reception at 21. That's a nightclub. Oh, yeah, one more thing. What was it? Oh, Time magazine. They want pictures.
For the cover.
No, honey, just the inside. You better be careful or you'll catch a cold. Rotten kids.
Oh, I know. They're going to publish your poetry. You're going to be a bestseller. I'm so proud of you. Go with you to New York? But you're going to be with all those literary people and going to expensive places? What would I wear? What would I say? I can't. I mean, what would I say to those kind of people? No, I wouldn't. I'd never fit in. I knew it was too good to last. I'm not right for you. I mean, you're going to go off to New York and become a big poet like Rob McEwen or somebody. And I can't even make it through beauty school. I'd embarrass you. Then don't you go. If you love me, then you'll stay in Fernwood. There's no talking me out of it. My mind is made up. I mean, that... I love you so much. And I barely got through dumbbell English. I'm listening. You love me, but you think I'm crazy. Don't you understand? If it would wreck everything. If I went to New York and I was a flop, it would be over. And if it has to be over, I want it to be over here, where at least I'm close to home. Oh, damn. I never thought I wish I did my stupid English homework. If you go without me, will you forget me? Will you miss me? Oh, I know. You'll probably go off and find somebody who's smart, rich, and sexy. Hey, you dummy.
I see admiration in your eyes, and I believe you think I hung the moon. And if I fell like other women, I'll find the will and try again. 'Cause everything I am begins with you. For when I want...
I'll get it.
You know, if that's Watchtower,
Yeah.
Tell him no, because, honey, I didn't understand that last magazine.
Hi!
I hope we're not barging in, but I have been feeling so guilty for not coming over to see poor Loretta.
No, come on in. Come on in.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, there she is, looking just as perky as ever.
Well, I was just rehearsing here in my wheelchair.
Oh, well, all right. I can see we've
No,
come...
no. Love to have neighbors come by any old time. Come on, sit down. Come on in, sit down.
Thank you, Charlie. Say, I like your place.
Thanks.
What are you doing home?
Well, I didn't get my job back yet. Aren't you supposed to be in school today?
Oh, no, not him. They're having a protest down at the school today. They are protesting the eating conditions that are unfit in the faculty cafeteria.
Would you believe it? They're feeding us the same thing they're giving those kids.
Now, Leroy, just forget your own troubles. We are here to cheer up poor Loretta.
Poor Loretta's just fine. Thank you, Blanche.
Oh, aren't you brave? Oh, after that awful charlatan con woman. I mean, people like that should be outlawed.
Well, some people do get their inspiration from the Lord.
Oh, really? Well, people like that get their inspiration right from their bank accounts.
Blanche, different people have different beliefs.
Leroy, I am not blaming Loretta. But after that awful tragedy on the highway, and seeing her whole career go up in a trail of smoke and nuns,
Blanche.
I mean, even a rational person would do something abnormal.
Well, not everybody thinks that turning to the Lord is abnormal, Blanche.
Of course you don't. And neither do I. But when I see a young girl like Loretta, lovely, sitting in that chair for the rest of her life, with her whole life ruined.
Oh, I've been ruined, Blanche.
This chair is only temporary. Don't you know that?
Yeah.
Oh, really? I thought that you...
No, just now, wait a minute. Listen, just because one doctor says that it's hopeless.
Yeah, just because one little old woman didn't place the right trust that the Lord placed in her, you know.
That doesn't mean that you can't have an optimistic attitude.
Which I certainly do, Blanche. I certainly do. And, hey, we've got money for a new recording session. Tell them, Charlie.
We have money for a new recording session.
And a new car.
Oh, that's great, Charlie.
You know, we saw one of those ads, you know, that Nick Ruckley or whatever his name is, you know, he has those goats and that turtle he rides and stuff, you know. We saw a 74 Cadillac Coupe de Ville, original paint, $1,100.
You got a Cadillac?
No, not really. I think it's Rick Nutley, honey, isn't it? Rick Nutley.
Nutley.
Dick
Nutley.
Anyway, so you see, when we got down there, they sold the Cadillac already, so the only thing else that they had in our price range was a 71 Ambassador.
Oh, that's a good car, Charlie.
Well, except for this little teensy grinding noise, kind of when you make a left-hand turn, but... Oh, God bless you, honey.
Oh,
Thank you.
he's coming down with a cold.
It's probably the flu.
He is such a baby when he gets a cold. And a grouch, you wouldn't believe it.
The flu is worse than a cold. People can die from the flu, Blanche.
Well, you know something? Maybe you ought to try those 4 and 9 way layered time release capsules. You know they attack all 12 sinus cavities.
8 sinus cavities, honey.
Oh, yeah. Well, you remember that there's that little guy with sandpaper at the back of your throat, and then electricity bolts come shooting from the headache area down through to the inner ear.
I just ignore him when he gets like that and let him play with his mentholatum.
Blanche, I don't play with my mentholatum.
What I wanted to ask you about, Loretta, is the house.
You know, also them little blue bubbles is eating away at them pink bubbles, you know, churning and twisting.
Honey, I think that's a cleanser for the kitchen sink.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I heard that you and Charlie were losing the house.
Well, who told you that, Mary?
Martha.
Oh, you women, you have a hotline from kitchen to kitchen all over Fernwood.
It ain't true, Blanche. I mean, Charlie and I had just this teensy little misunderstanding with the real estate company and the loan company, and I'd really appreciate it if you didn't go spreading it around.
Who, me? Oh, my goodness, I wouldn't hear of
Because
it.
Loretta is going right back to her singing career at the Capri Lounge.
That's right. Just as soon as I get just a few little details squared away with manager Irving Miller.
Who is as happy as a hog in a wallet, because he's got a super singing star like Loretta coming back to his Capri Lounge in the bowling alley.
See, I have this new tune. Y'all want to hear it? I'm working on it. I copied the lyrics off this record I got at the bargain bin at Safeway. It's a great Kitty Wells album.
You want to hear? You wait till you hear this. Even in a wheelchair, this is a singing superstar. He's on the truth.
This is the chorus, kind of for Charlie. For when I wondered, you convinced me that I could. Knowing you depended on me, proved I should. And in your mind, you never doubted that I would. What would I do? What would I do if not for you? Oh, Charlie, it's real hard to play in a wheelchair. The guitar doesn't fit.
You know, that was real nice of Blanche and Leroy coming around like that.
Oh, Blanche just wanted to come over and give me some trouble about Dorelda de Remus.
Honey, where's your Christian charity? They were just being neighborly.
Lawyer.
Doctor first.
Mr. Haggers.
See?
Don't make him stand out there. Come on in,
I
hon.
feel kind of like a CIA agent. I just hope nobody sees me.
Come on in, sit down.
Oh, thanks. Mrs. Haggers, how good to see you again.
Oh, ditto. Listen, hon, I just want you to know how much we appreciate all you're doing for us.
Well, when you become a doctor, you take an oath. I happen to believe that oath. And when I see a fellow doctor failing to live up to that responsibility,
And then charging sky-high prices while he's doing it.
Exactly.
Lawyer.
Honey, there's no bet. That's no fair. Who else could it be?
Did you and your husband call the lawyer I suggested?
Oh, no, he called somebody on his own, see, because a friend recommended a real good guy.
Oh, hi, Charlie.
Oh, Tom, I forgot you were coming over. Come on in.
Well, you asked me. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember. Dr. Abramson, this here is Tom Hartman. He's a neighbor and a friend, and he's going to keep me from botching things up.
You got another lawyer?
Oh, yeah, a guy who handled a whiplash case for Loretta's recording engineer, a guy named Minnow or Willow or something like that. I don't know.
Well, nice to meet you, Doc.
Pleasure.
Really good. Yeah.
How are you?
Mr. Haggers, I'm Lucius Winnow.
Oh, yes, sir, the lawyer. Come on right in. Now, this here is Tom Hartman. He's a neighbor.
How do you do, Mr. Pillow?
This is Dr. Abramson.
Hello.
And this here is my wife, Loretta.
Darn, I'm sure.
I'm pleased to meet all of you.
Oh, darn, I don't have no coffee. But listen, if anybody wants a diet tab, I'll just wheel right in the kitchen.
Oh, no thanks, Mrs. Haggis. I think we should get right down to business. Do you mind?
No, just watch the guitar book.
Now, what I have here is the standard form for my 2-year retainer.
2-year retainer.
Well, we never know how long these cases are going to take, Mr. Haggis. Of course, outside of court costs and reasonable expenses, I expect no cash outlay.
Excuse me, aren't you interested in the specifics of Mrs. Hager's case before you, well, get into all that?
Yeah.
That's right. Thanks, Tom.
Son, you handle the bones, I'll handle the business. Huh? Now, what I'm proposing is your standard 33-50 split.
Wait a minute, that don't add up to 100. That's only 83.
She's cute. 33% of any settlement made out of court. 50% if we go to trial.
Isn't that a little high?
That's right. Thanks, Tom.
The way malpractice is being fought these days, it's perfectly reasonable. And frankly, Mr. Haggis, the obvious look of pain and suffering on your wife's face, I think we can soak these stitch-happy jokers for a couple of $100,000.
Well, now, wait a minute. I ain't suffering, and I don't want to soak anybody. See, all we're trying to do is just get the hospital bills paid, till I get back up on my feet again.
Brave little woman.
Well, frankly, Mr. Pillow.
Winnow.
I don't know that this is exactly what we had in mind.
Well, let me put it in layman terms. You see, without a law...
Mr. Haggers.
Yes, sir.
I'm a Des County Deputy Sheriff. This writ is to inform you that you have 10 days to vacate the premises as a condition of a court order handed down by County Court Judge Milmer Patterson. On behalf of the Friendly Loan Company.
Charlie, no!
Mr. Haggis, perhaps you'd like to reconsider signing that contract?
There were a lot of powerful beats in this episode, so let's talk about them. Before we get to talking about the episode, though, I'll remind you that if you didn't catch yesterday's rerun season episode, or you didn't already know this, one of my gigs as an actor is as a crisis intervention role player, which means that I help law enforcement officers around Illinois and in Chicago to learn how to de-escalate situations with the mentally ill in crisis. And that means I've spent a bit of time thinking about suicide and going through the motions, at least, of being in a suicidal crisis. I'm not a licensed or trained mental health practitioner. I'm not a law enforcement officer. I want to make clear that that's the case. At the very least, I've spent time having good conversations with people who work in those fields, and I do my best to listen, and I do my best to learn. So that's where I'm coming from. Just know that I can't diagnose you for anything, but at the very least I will listen. And that is where we start today's episode, with, at first, right on the tail end of Friday's episode, which was May jumping into Mary's bathroom with Mary and Martha waiting outside, and Mary does her best to just keep Martha quiet because Martha often needs shutting up when people are freaking out. And sending Martha away is exactly the correct choice. Of course, Mary approaches May in crisis at first by barking commands and with strong emotion, as Mary is very clearly feeling strong emotions, and that's understandable. For a person in crisis like May, someone just yelling at you doesn't necessarily make you feel better or make you feel like doing the thing that they want you to do. And what it was that turned May's situation around was Mary's expression of caring. And that is the thing that hit me so hard in this episode, especially considering how much Mary loathes May. But to see her in crisis in her home, to see her sleeping in her bed and recovering there, to see her in deep crisis mode, locked in a bathroom. One of my friends who does role play and has done for over 15 years at this point has done the scenario being locked in a bathroom with officers screaming, "Get out so we can talk, get out so we can talk." And screaming that command, well, if you can say, "Get out so we can talk," and the person behind the door can hear you, you are able to talk. So it isn't "get out so that we can talk." It's something else. You are able to talk. So again, Mary found the expression of care. Now, just telling someone that you care about them doesn't necessarily mean that they will de-escalate the crisis, but it is a powerful gesture. So after that bathroom moment is resolved, we see another scene with Mary and May, and in this case we see more of that listening that Mary gives. And I think in this case I feel very clear that Mary is sincere in her care for May, even considering how much she hates May. And maybe it goes a little bit too far when Mary gets the idea that May is still in love with her ex-husband. I suppose we're not going to have time to cover all of the beats that happened in this series during our 1/2 of a week left of rerun season, but just if you end up not being able to see the episode, it doesn't go so well. But let's say, at the very least, Mary and May have formed some kind of rapport. And it's a troubled rapport, but that's not... It's a human experience to have mixed feelings about people. Speaking of mixed feelings, there's an exchange between Steve and Kathy, who have just gotten engaged, and Steve gets that invitation to New York City to go be a celebrity. And this is the first time, and me rewatching this episode today, it was the first time that I realized how low Kathy's self-esteem is. And usually Kathy walks into a room and she's loud and brassy, and I think it was odd for me to see today that she feels that she can't be with people that are smarter than her. And it's fair to say that Kathy is not well educated. She's basically dropped out of beauty school, much like Pinky in Grease. And her self-esteem is pretty low. And I guess we'll see how that affects Steve and Kathy's relationship in the long run. Then we get a scene between the Haggers and the Fetters with a lot of catching up on various points of view, wondering about what's going on with the house. Blanche, of course, pontificating on how awful things are, because Blanche likes to turn things real negative. And Leroy has a cold. Hopefully he'll get better. Then we see that scene with Charlie, and his advocates, which include the doctor from the hospital that was willing to testify on their behalf. It includes the lawyer that Charlie called, and includes Tom. I mean, Tom doesn't do so many effective things, but he's there. And to me, advocacy is just as much about standing with someone as it is getting a job done. Of course, the stakes get raised when the writ is served on the Hager home, and yeah, they're going to need some money fast. We'll see if they're able to save their house. Today's spotlight, I will not shine on a television show, but rather on a YouTube video featuring a speaker who has said some meaningful things. This is a man named Kevin Hines who survived jumping off of the Golden Gate Bridge, and he has a lot to say about his experience with suicide, and I think a lot of the things that he says are quite powerful. I've spent a lot of time thinking about the topic. I definitely have known some people who have acted on suicide, some of whom succeeded in the goal of ending their life. And I, in fact, do occasionally deal with suicidal ideation. That's something I want to make clear and state out loud. I can't say for sure what you are experiencing at home, but if you are feeling any suicidal impulse, I hope you understand that even if you feel alone, you might not be. And the video that I'm sharing right here, that I think is one place you can go to hear someone's story. And if you've never considered suicide, it's still a really powerful story. So everyone, that is all I've got to say today. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Thank you so much for sharing all of your thoughts. Thank you for being here, and we will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.